Hello and welcome to Gaggia TV. What we're going to be doing today is we are degreasing the brew unit in one of our automatic bean to cup machines. You might want to do this if the coffee that you're brewing is having trouble coming out of the head, or you're noticing the brewing unit making more noise than usual, or you're finding that actually it's not moving as easily as it used to. What we're going to do is we're going to take one of the degreasing tablets, which I'll show you in a second, and we're going to try to get it into this part here by operating the machine in its pre-ground mode, but instead of putting pre-ground coffee down the chute, what we're going to do is we're going to put a degreasing tablet down the chute. What will happen is the degreasing tablet will wind up inside this portion of the brew group, and then it'll be brewed like coffee. And we actually want to interrupt the process part-way through the degreasing tablet being brewed and hold the degreasing liquid inside the machine for a period of time to do its kind of magic, dissolving the coffee solids. Because as I say, what is going to happen is that we're going to dissolve the coffee solids that are inside the actual brewing unit itself, and also inside the espresso lines and out the espresso nozzles that come out of the front here. This is something you should do around about every 6 months or so with your machine. These are the degreasing tablets we're going to use. We recommend that you use ones by PULY, and as I've said before in previous videos, these are slightly alkaline. They're a sort of lime-based derivative. What you need to be slightly careful with them and rinse your hands after you're done, because they are mildly irritating to your skin. So I have the Brera here, and the way that the Brera works is it's got this kind of interface here, and to change the coffee strength and also to turn it into pre-ground, so that I'm going to be putting something down the chute here, we don't want the grinder to operate. You use this particular button here. On your machine it might look slightly different. If you have the Anima or the Velasca, then how you get the pre-ground function to work is in a slightly different way, but actually the Brera's controls show it best on camera, so that's why I'm using this one here. What we're now going to do is we're going to put the pre-ground in here and then allow it to brew, and as soon as you can start to see water coming out of the front here, we're going to turn the machine off at the wall. So you've got to be ready and make sure you know where the switch is, so that when the time comes you can turn it off at the wall, because we're actually going to stop the machine partway through that process. The very first thing we do is we're going to take this and put it in here. You just drop it in like so, and make sure it goes all the way down. Ours has. We then push espresso, and as soon as we see water coming out of the front here, we're going to stop and turn it off at the wall. So it's done its pre-infusion. So we're going to hold it there. And what you'll actually notice, and I can see it in the bottom of the drip tray here, I would hold it up to the camera, but I don't think it'll see it very well, is that actually that was brown foam that we produced there. And what is currently happening is that the alkaline mixture is dissolving all the coffee solids inside the espresso lines and the brewing unit that we've got just there. We're now going to leave it for about 5 minutes. What we're going to do now is we're going to turn on the machine from the back. And the very first thing that will happen when you do is that it will reset the brewing unit into its neutral home position. That's perfectly natural and all fine, but remember, we've got all of that alkaline solution inside the actual espresso lines and the brewing unit. So we're going to have to rinse this out a couple of times. I find it quite good to put something in the way when it does its pre-rinse here, so that I can catch all of the coffee solids that are coming out, because I don't really want them winding up my drip tray. What we are going to do now is we're going to run an espresso through the brewing unit and the espresso lines in the pre-ground mode, but without putting any coffee in, because we're going to thoroughly rinse out the whole mechanism that we've got here. And there's a reason, so I'll put that aside, I have 2 glasses, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to run the final rinse cycle. So I'm going to rinse it 2 or 3 times, and when I think it's clean, I'm going to run the final rinse cycle into the clear glass so that I know that it's clean, because you really want to make sure that you've rinsed out all of the degreasing solution from your brew unit and your espresso lines, because you really don't want to drink this. Not only does it taste foul, it's quite bad for you. So we're going to make sure this goes into the brewing unit, make sure that this goes into the pre-ground mode and push espresso to rinse the whole thing out. You can still see it's slightly foamy on this second rinse. It's quite difficult to see through this IKEA glass that I have here, but it's slightly foamy on its second rinse, so we're still going to have to keep rinsing. The colour of this solution, by the way, is all the stuff that was inside your machine, so it is a good thing to do this. Once again, I'm going to put this into pre-ground mode and run an espresso. If you're slightly cleverer about this, you can probably run an espresso lungo through your machine, which will run more water through it, so you have to rinse fewer times, but that would be being smart. Now this is looking much, much clearer than it was. So I'm going to rinse one more time for luck, and then I'm going to do a test rinse to make sure that it's clear. Into pre-ground mode, push an espresso. Much clearer. Move this out of the way. It is quite warm. Don't forget that. And we're going to do one more just to check that it is rinsed properly, though I anticipate that it is. Good stuff. That is more or less completely clear. So it's got bubbles in it from the boiler, but these will eventually clear and leave us with just hot water. As this clears, you can see. So that is ready to make coffee now again, and we've given it a thorough rinse and a thorough clean. This is how you this is how you degrease a Gaggia automatic bean to cup machine, provided it's got the pre-ground function. Enjoy your coffee.